So good morning everyone. We begin with chanting Universal Well-Being.
May I abide in well-being, in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may I maintain well-being in myself. May everyone abide in well-being, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may they maintain well-being in themselves. May all beings released from all suffering, and may they not be parted from the good fortune they have attained. When they act upon intention, all beings are the owners of their action, and inherit its results. Their future is born from such action, companion to such action, and its results will be their home. All actions with intention, be they skillful or harmful, of such acts they will be the heirs.
Continue reading the Bowing Journals by Rev Hank Scher and Marty Verhoeven, Dharma Hank Chow. And today we are it's the entry from Dharma Hank Chow, April 8, 1978. I'll start with a quote from the Peter Guozai. I want to come back after Alaska. It won't take me long to finish up there, said Peter Guozai as he got ready to leave. He bowed with us for a week, pretty much in silence. Peter has been working construction on the Alaska pipeline during the summers and living in the monastery during the rest of the year. I always remember Guozai sitting on the side of the road, 300 feet above the Azura Sea. We took a bowing break and he sat down to read the Avatamsaka preface. He just started off for a long time with the preface, held limply in one hand, wrapped over his knee, obviously to the campers and tourists driving by. The preface begins with going and returning with no border. Movement and stillness have no one source. Embracing multitudes of wonders, more remains. Overstepping words and thoughts by far, this can only be the Dharma realm. Boy, I tried to read it twice, but I couldn't handle it. It blew my mind, he said. Peter, an ex-Marine, a Vietnam vet, now a strict vegetarian, looked serene and mellowed in a true and solid way. The bowing and the Avatamsaka can do that to you. And the quote, another quote from Avatamsaka Sutra. Opening and disclosing the mysterious and subtle, understanding and expanding the mind and its states, exhausting the principle and fathoming the nature, penetrating the result which includes the chaos, deep and wide and interfused, vast and great and totally complete. Surely this must be the great means expansive Buddha flower adornment sutra. This is just too fine, too much, said Peter, shaking his head. One word stops and another opens, and then another. Stop here. So we have a short introduction to Peter Schmitz Gwozai. Someone, like Marty says, was a Vietnam veteran who returned from war and met Dharma and devoted his life to peace, because become a peacemaker, right? Even change his diet, become a vegetarian, and came to join the two bowing monks in for the world peace. And as he says that he half summers works in the Alaska and most of the year spending in the monastery. And he chose not easy one, right? The Golden Mountain Monastery, and not very, how to say, a quite strict teacher, Master Shenhua. You can imagine the time when the three of them bowed there, right? The California, and I think it's maybe the summer of love was end. It was maybe autumn of love, the 60s, you know, kind of the young people want to explore different areas, using substances, and I think amongst the teachers, Master Hua was quite unique, putting the precepts in the front when one of the most important elements of the training of the mind, and really not compromise that. So in many ways not easy or challenging. It kind of remind my beginnings. I was not a Vietnam veteran. I never even served in army. Actually, I escaped from it, from the service. This is probably for a different story. But I became vegetarian. It was the first step. I share here, after reading Earth Store Sutra and dedicating this practice to my best friend, child, I kind of become vegetarian and maintain this until today. But I can say I was a party veteran, attending many parties. So the big shift for me was stop drinking and stop smoking, change my this kind of habits. And even among the Buddhist friends and circumstances, what I, after a while, now more and more different teachers. At the time in Poland we have Zen, Korean Zen, and a lot of different Tibetan schools. I know some friends, and I remember they say, can you a little bit relax with this precepts? You understand vegetarian, but drinking after the session, go to the taking a beer. It's okay. Why are you so attached to these precepts? I say, well, I know this realm of taking beers and so forth. No, thank you, no more. Remember one time, my good friend, who was a Tibetan practitioner, and he is following a very famous teacher. He's still kind of famous. I will maybe not make the name, from Denmark. Some of you in Europe maybe know. I think it was maybe 2003. He invited me to someone's house when the people came there to listen Dharma talk of his teacher. Actually, he came to Warsaw, and when he showed up, usually, the disciples rent the big halls, like sports halls, like sometimes 10,000 people attended to this huge events with him. And it was they at the time they rented this big sports hall in Warsaw. We were in my home city, Białystok, and it was one of the first time when people do the online transmission of Dharma talks. It's kind of cool. So I came to this place, sitting there, see like around 20, 30, mostly young people. And just before Dharma talks begins, one young girl came to me and asked me, do you prefer red or wine? Red or white? I said, red or white? No, yeah, what kind of wine do you prefer? I said, well, I don't drink. So I say, I'm Buddhist. Oh, it's like, look at me. It's okay, And I'm kind of sitting in this before Dharma talk. So we have Dharma request here, right? You bow down and request the Dharma. And here everyone's kind of filling out the glass of wine. It's wow, this is weird. And everyone start drinking. And after a while I noticed, this is not the Dharma talk. I'm in the middle of party. It's like, wow, this is hilarious. I forget what was the Dharma talk, but I remember what the teacher talked about. But the atmosphere was quite tense. I left there pretty soon after the Dharma talk was finished. They continue the Dharma discussions with more wine and and so forth. And I said, wow, this is something. So back to the point that maybe maintaining this Dharma and back to the foundation is maybe not easy, but bring the good results, and it's touching the very authentic place in the heart, and the heart can be transformed. That actually we want to do it. We are want to live according to these principles. Like Godzai, who spent most of the year in the monastery, and I can imagine the place when he worked in the summers in Alaska in the pipeline company. Probably it's not very friendly Buddhist, environment. He has to stay with his vows, right, with his precepts, and probably be challenged in many ways. But he knows in the heart that it works, right? It's touching the place when we know that is right, and this deliver the deep transformation and happiness and so forth. So I see we're almost there. So we can now do the 3 steps, 1 bow practice, and just encourage you to maintain these basics. If you are vegetarian, maintain this diet. If you're not, maybe you can consider. Definitely, I don't encourage you to drink wine. Maybe you can drink grape juice. Just stay on the road with the precepts, and everything will be fine. Okay.
And Peter actually still comes to the city.
Yeah.
And people know he also visited Vihara.
Actually, he should visit Vihara, exactly.
About maybe a month ago.
Yeah.
And I'm struck, given that he was an ex-Marine, he actually has a fairly gentle demeanor.
Yeah.
Okay, so and Guozai, I don't know if people know what Zai means. Zai means vegetarian.
Vegetarian?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Guozai. Okay, so we have Avatamsaka translation, Avatamsaka class this morning, so I'll have to go help teach, but Jingwei will help lead.
But it'll be shorter.
Yeah. So
but you can continue bowing if you wish.